Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about Sing. Sing is the latest from Illumination, and it feels very much like an Illumination movie in that it's so pre-calculated to be a major hit, like most of their movies, that I'm not sure this is when they're kind of making an easy hit or just making a regular movie. And Sing really feels that way. It feels so predetermined and pre-sold that I think most of the audience feels like they've probably already seen it, chewed it in, and spit it out. It's such an amazingly populous now movie, it's actually ridiculous. It takes furry anthropomorphic animals and puts a singing competition with it, making it kind of a weird mix between kind of a soft, cuddly, typical idea of an animated film with American Idol or something, except being made like 15 years way after American Idol. But since that like seriously never went away for whatever reason, this can still be a hit since America and really the world at large, looking at the Eurovision competition and all that stuff, loves singing competitions. So this is just like one of those things that why hasn't a studio done this before? And now that they are, it can make buckets and buckets of money. Sing is so predetermined and ready for it, it's almost disgusting. It's also that I think the problem with Illumination is they're just so good almost at making these very corporately approved kind of animated films that it's almost ridiculous, frankly. I don't really like most of them, but I have to admit they're a lot better at this than like DreamWorks was when they were at the place that Illumination is now, except for, DreamWorks like tried to actually do something artistic, and Illumination makes an animated movie about a singing competition. So put two and two together and it comes out Minions or something. Sing is actually really good at what it's trying to do, but then as I'm watching Sing, I'm kind of like, how often are you guys going to make these easy to be made kind of corporately approved animated films? And when are you going to maybe actually do something interesting or different or challenging? Or is most of the audience not even caring about that? As we see Illumination be so ready to make corporately approved hit animated films, it feels like their average is kind of their normal, and their average is the highest they can ever achieve. And with Sing, they seem to be doing that yet again, as amazing as average can simply be. Buster Moon, who is the owner of a theater that is not doing very well at all, and he decides to put on a singing competition and tell the whole town about it, who has various people who would love to do singing and stuff. He puts out an ad and it's supposed to say the contest winner would get $1,000, but because of a misprint it says $100,000, and everybody shows up with dreams of making lots of money mostly, but also the idea of singing is in there sort of. They kind of forget about the money part, but for the most part that's why people want to do it. They have this big singing competition and various people come together. A mom pig voiced by Reese Witherspoon, and then she is put together with this other Gunther pig voiced by Nick Kroll. You have Taron Egerton voicing this gorilla gangster English guy. You have this lady Tori Kelly voicing a elephant who I swear to you was like Ariana Grande or like someone who's trying to just do what Mariah Carey did. So to me, I really thought it was Ariana Grande. Like, is there a difference? Seth MacFarlane as a singing kind of Frank Sinatra mouse, and Scarlett Johansson is a kind of punk rocker chick girl, I guess. They all come together to do this singing competition and try to bring back the theater against all odds and prove to themselves that they can make it in this singing competition. I have to probably accept that Sing probably was not made for me as someone who's seen an episode of American Idol and maybe a half of another one and never seen The Voice or the other shows that they have that are singing shows. I don't actually know what they are. I don't know, because I've never watched them and I've never had any interest in it. From what I've seen, I'm like, that's like not interesting to me at all. I don't really get it. I sort of get this as trying to do a thing with Buster Moon, who's voiced by Matthew McConaughey, and try to do kind of a thing like a Bubsley Berkeley musical was like, hey, let's all put on a show type of thing. And I guess that's what it's trying to do in the guise of doing a singing competition American Idol thing. And that's really, I guess, what it's doing. They don't mention American Idol or anything like that, which seems particularly odd considering it feels like a way to bring the kind of Bubsley Berkeley, Jimmy Cagney would be the lead in one of them, I remember, where the McConaughey role would be, do that in a new modern setting, which I guess now that I'm explaining it that way makes me sort of understand it a little more. I really didn't like it as much. It kind of reminds me of the Minions movie where I saw it and I went, this is for someone and it's not me. And I don't think it's horrible. I think it's better than the Minions movie, so ta-da, that's a praise. But I don't think it's really a high point for Illumination. I still think The Secret Life of Pets is probably the best thing they've ever made. This is just kind of them just kind of coasting. It feels like they're always kind of coasting in this averageness, and even the music they play in this is kind of an average person who isn't really into music listens to. Some of it sort of works in a way, but its interpretation of music in general is very flawed and very kind of just stereotypical in ways that like you'd hear it from someone who doesn't actually like music but has their earbuds in all the time, and you're like, what do you like? And they're like, I like music. And they're like, oh, so you're boring. Sorry. Sing has these ideas of like a rocker punk rock chick. I mean, some of these, like if someone told me this was written in 2001 and put in a drawer and then came out again, they're like, this script is fine, I would buy it. The only character who I really liked the music with and the mentality with it made sense is character Reese Witherspoon voices, who's like the suburban mom pig lady, and that kind of worked because she listens to pop radio. When she eventually sings the song she sings, it makes like absolute perfect sense to me, and I thought that character and where they're going with that worked. In the character Scarlett Johansson voices the porcupine, I thought that worked pretty well. I liked Taron Egerton. I don't like that Sam Smith type of music. It's music that gets played when I go to the dentist, and it later influences other music that will get played when I go to the dentist also. So I don't mind the Seth MacFarlane thing. It's kind of like he's the only one who could really effectively play that. And the only character other than that who really had an arc was the Buster Moon character that Matthew McConaughey plays, he plays it very well, actually. Illumination, despite all their flaws, I guess, or lack of anything that I think will be remembered in animation history, they are incredible at casting, especially casting big names. There's a lot of animated films that cast a lot of big names because they're big names, and most studios can't really do that very well. Disney's much better at doing that with, you know, actors and stuff. They don't really go for big names as much with Pixar and Disney animated films. They go for slightly big names, but not bigger names, and Sing really goes for them. And I think Secret Life of Pets, again, was better casted as well, but I think they do an effective job at this. Scarlett Johansson doesn't have a distinctive enough voice to really be a successful voice actress. I think Reese Witherspoon actually does. A lot of her performances use her voice a lot more. I mean, look at Election, look at Legally Blonde. The voice is an important part of that, but I don't think Scarlett Johansson is someone like that. So she used her voice better in The Jungle Book, and I didn't particularly love that either. So, like, Nick Kroll's amazing at. Nick Kroll could be a voice actor. He's great as Gunther the Pig. Taron Egerton, it kind of actually works. John C. Reilly, of course, has done it before, but Matthew McConaughey really actually does kind of a voice actory role. It's his most voice actor. It doesn't feel like Matthew McConaughey in an animated film the way like Kubo, which is a much better movie. I think he does more of a Matthew McConaughey kind of performance. In this, he felt like him doing a voice actor kind of turn at it, which I thought was interesting, and I thought he did a good job. And I think Illumination is good at casting bigger names in their films and having it actually well cast. But again, I thought that worked better in Secret Life of Pets. This was actually directed by Garth Jennings, who had directed Son of Rambo and who was part of a directing duo Hammer and Tongs, who did the Blur music video Coffee and TV, and also directed Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This is his first animated thing. Kind of reminds me of kind of Nick Stoller with Storks, but what kind of confused me is that, like, I don't really get a sense of, I've seen both of his other things, I don't particularly love either, but I don't get a real sense of him in this. I was kind of surprised that it was Garth Jennings. I was kind of wondering when I saw that name who that was, but now that I know, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, that's a little... Seeing Illumination is like seeing someone who used to be creative make a pop album and have no soul again, and that's kind of what it's like watching him direct Sing after seeing such a cool music video like Coffee and TV. I don't really like Sing that much. It kind of washed over me in a way. I don't think anyone's gonna really remember Sing other than Secret Life of Pets or like the Despicable Me movies. I've never been a huge fan, even the ones I sort of like, and I don't even like them that strongly. Illumination is always a studio that kind of underwhelms me. Even when they're at their best, they underwhelm me. It's just a big poppy fine or whatever experience, but Sing just kind of makes me think like this studio is just kind of doing that kind of thing that appeals to big audiences but doesn't do anything else. I know a lot of people have been kind of grabbed by this emotionally and stuff. That's good for you, but like for me, this just felt like the Minions movie for me, where I saw people laughing in the theater. There are a lot of jokes that was like, that was a joke, like, do you know how jokes work or something? I don't really get it. Or like even like when they're singing the Anaconda Nicki Minaj song, people seem to love that even though it was in the trailers, so that's weird. I like the Humpty Dance alligator. I thought was pretty funny though. There's only one part that was a little weird where the koala and like a sheep are like washing cars cars with their bodies. That was just bizarre. That was like the one part I was like, where are we going with this? Is just weird. This is not where I expected this movie to go. It's a very strange sequence. But other than that, I mean, it's so pre-calculated. You know they're going to get the theater back. You know these people are going to prove themselves as performers. You know all these things are going to happen before you walk in. And guess what? The movie does exactly that shit. It's so predictable. Even your like little microscopic idea of what this movie could be, it is. It's so predetermined. This movie is so unsurprising. It washes over you in an unsurprising way. And it's unsurprising that Illumination isn't going to push themselves. They're just going to make the stuff that moms will happily put on and laugh at the dumb jokes with their kids. And that's fine. Pixar does that too, but Pixar has some soul to it. Pixar kind of does interesting things with structure. Pixar are kind of masters of storytelling when they're not making Cars movies or sequels or everything else that they're eventually, oh my god, Illumination is like the future, isn't it? But let's not think about that, and Trump's president. Let's not think about that, and Sing's the reason why. Let's not think about that. It's probably true though. But the thing is with Sing is it's so vanilla in what it's trying to do. Illumination as a studio, what do they add to the kind of CG animation feature genre? They add big hits. That's all they're adding to it. Pixar not only set the mold, but pushed it further than anyone. DreamWorks at least did something with the How to Train Your Dragon films and the Kung Fu Panda movies. Illumination made the Minions. That's it. And that's all they are. They're into making big hits. They're into making soda pop and bubble gum, the forgettable soda pop. It's like forgettable bubble gum you buy at the store and you forget you have in your pocket and they go, oh shit, I still have this? Oh, that's cool. But it doesn't mean anything to you and it's not going to resonate. It doesn't represent anything. It's not going to grab you and be essential. A very deconstructionist storytelling that really says something about us as humanity. It's just a dumb little singing competition with a bunch of animals that does exactly what you want it to do and then leaves you. If you're talking about how you have a problem with passable movies and you're fine with Sing, you're full of shit, because Sing and Illumination makes passable, big hit, corporate, checking off boxes kind of animated film, and that's what Sing does. If you're fine with that, I'm sure you'll enjoy Sing. I'm sure you'll have a good time. But if you're asking anything more of animation, Sing is not for you, and Illumination will never be for you, because Illumination will never be interested in that. Illumination is interested in being the blue light special at Kmart, and that's all they will ever be interested in, and maybe that's all their audience is interested in, and I will always find that disappointing, because I expect animation to do more and push the medium and do interesting things, or at least make movies that just don't feel as predeterminedly boring and vanilla as Sing does, and honestly forgettable. And I guarantee no one will care about this in 20 years, or hopefully Illumination, until Illumination starts the New World Order and takes us all over with the Minions and destroys us all, because we all just let them come into our homes and take over because they were so enjoyable and fun and empty, we didn't really realize what they were doing to our souls. But until we realize that, enjoy Sing and have a happy holidays. So if you have seen Sing and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.